Grandparents are being denied the right to look after their grandchildren by adoption agencies despite being willing to provide that home and support for them, Theresa May has admitted. The Prime Minister said adoption agencies should work to ensure that grandchildren should be brought up in their family whenever possible. An estimated 200,000 children are cared by their grandchildren in the UK. In the House of Commons, Mrs May said she had met grandparents who have been concerned about decisions that have been taken in relation to their grandchildren when they themselves were willing to provide that home and support for them. Mrs May was pressed on the issue by Oliver Dowden, a Tory MP and former Number 10 advisor to David Cameron, who said grandparents were not allowed to be part of adoption decisions about their own grandchildren in his Hertsmere constituency. He said grandparents have a vital role to play in the upbringing of their grandchildren, something that, in a time of rising life expectancy, they are better equipped than ever to fulfill. Mr Dowden asked whether Mrs May agreed that there should be a presumption in their favour when it comes to adoption, but they should also be intimated involved in those decisions. She replied, like him, I have seen grandparents in my constituency who have been concerned about decisions that have been taken in relation to their grandchildren when they themselves were willing to provide that home and support for them, so he has raised a very important issue. There is of course already a duty on local authorities in legislation to ensure that wherever possible children are raised within their family, and the statutory guidance does make particular reference to grandparents. But adoption agencies must also consider the needs of the child first and foremost. Each case will be different, but the message he is giving, that grandchildren being able to be brought up in their family whenever possible, is a good one. Lucy Peake, the chief executive of the Grandparents UK campaign group, welcomed Mrs May's remarks and said too many grandparents had to fight to be considered. She said, it was good to hear the Prime Minister recognise the role of grandparents who care for grandchildren and state her concerns that decisions are being made without adequately considering the grandparents who are willing to take on the caring role. It's important to recognise that local authorities and the courts are involved in these decisions. However, many grandparents do feel that they need to fight to be considered. There needs to be better information and advice to support and empower grandparents who are going through the process.